I'm here with Sequoia Schmidt, a Napier-born author who's just published her third book, Dream of Flight Through Fear to Fortitude, published under Catharsis, an imprint of D'Angelo Publications. Kia ora, Sequoia, nice to have you here.
Yara,
Yes, so now I last interviewed you in 2018. Safe to say a lot has happened since then.
it's been a minute. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking back on that actually when you reached out. I was like, man, seems like a whole different lifetime ago, just with COVID and everything. It's kind of like you're in a time warp for the last few years.
I can imagine it really has felt like that. And now coming into your third book, tell me sort of like what the inspiration behind it was and why you wanted to write another book.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really start out as a book, to be honest. I was skydiving and it started out more as a column. Like there was a adventure sports magazine and in California, and I was doing my A license in skydiving, and they said, "Will you write a column for our readers about what it's like to get your skydiving license?" So it started as a column and then just kind of developed from there. Where after I was done with my license and I was finished with the column, I um I just started kind of exploring the world of human flight a lot more. And it wasn't just through skydiving, it was also through paragliding and speed riding and eventually base jumping and wingsuiting. And so it was more like exploring the relationship that I had with fear and fear around human flight. And it just kind of developed into a book. And the way that I have previously written my books, and I guess my style is that I live the experience and then I write the book. So it's not like I wrote over the course of the 8 years that this book takes place. It's just little snippets of time. And I sit down at the very, very end of it. I'm like, okay, I feel like the stories of this particular book has kind of come to an end now. Let me write it out because it's all in my mind.
Oh, that was great because yeah, your previous two books, your first book you went to K2, and your second book you journeyed cycling throughout New Zealand. So you definitely lived them, as you say.
Yeah, live them as I go. And this one obviously took quite a bit longer because it takes place over the course of 8 years, like I said. So a lot happened in my life as it did in everyone's lives through COVID and everything else during that time.
And now, as you say, you have your life has been filled with sort of extreme tragedy and loss, and also extreme catharsis as well. Um, Sort of most notably with the loss of your father Marty and your brother Denali in 2013. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because it's been, 11 years now since they passed away, and really just uh navigating life through the process of how to move on from something like that and how to incorporate their memories in my life, but still continue to do what I love. And I come from an adventurous family, and I love the creative aspect and element of writing, right? So I own a publishing firm, and I think storytelling is really vitally important in this day and age. I think it's really important to have stories. And so I love that part of it. I love the storytelling element of it. And a huge part of my family is adventure. So mixing those two together over the last 11 years has been, yeah, really, really powerful and beautiful experience.
And did you ever think you would get into that adventuring side?
No, not when I first started my publishing company and was like more on the business side of everything. And honestly, it's a really hard balance between the two. It's hard to live in two worlds. Like I still struggle to navigate it. As things like my business grow, and I'm in business school right now, and that starts taking over more of my life, then I find that I'm not jumping or climbing or hiking as much. And so then I try to swing back the other way. And it's been a constant navigation between the two. And it's sometimes, that's part of life, is figuring those two things out. I never thought I would delve so much into the adventure side of things. Um, and then I did in my mid 20s. And then now in my early 30s, I never thought I would kind of swing back the other way and start going more towards business, which now I'm having to navigate like which side of the line I want to live on. So like everyone, life's a constant navigation.
Mm, definitely. And your business is going from strength to strength as well. And you've recently been accepted into Yale as well.
Yeah, I'm at Yale right now, actually. I'm at it's called the Yale Global Executive Leadership Program. So it's been wonderful. I love the campus. Yale has such an old, amazing campus, and I get to sit in a classroom with 38 leaders in their industry. And yeah, it's fascinating. A lot of really, really interesting people. So I've been enjoying it.
Oh, great. And now you're in New Zealand. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, I got in 2 days ago. I went to Piha yesterday, which was amazing, out on the beach, which was gorgeous. And then I've just kind of been in press interviews uh today, tomorrow, and the next day. And then I'll head down to the South Island. I'm speaking at the Wanaka. In Wanaka, there's a big New Zealand mountain book and film festival. It's an adventure based festival, and so I'll be speaking there, which I'm really stoked about. I think it'll be really fun. The last time I went there too, like I always run into people who knew Dad or knew Denali, so that makes it really cool.
Oh, exciting. And do you plan on coming to Hawke's Bay at any stage?
Yeah, I actually plan on coming there early next year as opposed to this year. I wanted to come over summer. This particular trip was like, kind of jump in, do a little bit of press, and do the book and film festival. So this particular trip is specifically like for the book. But I'm planning to come back in summer. So I want to do some jumping down in the South Island. And my plan was also to come through Hawke's Bay because I haven't been by for a little bit. I have a bunch of friends I want to see there and stuff.
Because as previously mentioned, you're based in America, right?
Yeah, predominantly in the States. I travel a lot, like in general, but we have a house in a place called Twin Falls in Idaho. So I spend a lot of time in Twin Falls. That's kind of a hub for base jumping. So there, and then my company's based out of Los Angeles. And obviously, this year being at Yale, I'm on campus quite a bit, and that's in the East Coast.
And what connection do you have to New Zealand? Obviously, you were born here, but and what does it bring up when you come back?
Yeah, no, I wasn't just born there. I was like born and raised there, right? So it was so funny. I was doing an interview the other day with the listener, and we were talking about like my childhood growing up and this like describing what it was like to go to Havelock North Intermediate and Hastings Girls High. And like so like when I think back on much of my upbringing, it takes place in Hawke's Bay. Yeah.
And that's such an inspiration to people as well that you can do big things sort of coming from a relatively small area.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just me. I think, my dad used to teach classes, like climbing classes up at Tomato Peak. And I was talking to a person the other day who took one of dad's climbing classes and now is an adventurer in their own right. And, they're friends with my brother and stuff like that. His name's Jesse. And I'm going to see him when I'm in Wanaka. But, they kind of, Hawke's Bay's a launching point where you can do so much. It's just you. It's the question is like what you want to do with your life, right? Like I have some amazing friends. My friend Rafael, who I went to Havelock North Intermediate with and Hastings Girls High. Like she chose to become a mother quite young and has beautiful children and like is raising a gorgeous family and I chose adventure a little bit more. And so like there's no right or wrong path or big things or small things. I consider being a mother and having kids a huge thing as well. So I think that there's so many options in Hawke's Bay. It's so beautiful and it has so much opportunity within that area there.
Oh, cool. And yeah, going back to your recent book, what do you hope people take out of it?
This for me was not just like a physical journey, it was more of an emotional journey of my relationship with fear. And so I think that if I were to say one thing that I would like for people to take away from the journey that was my life for the last 8 years, uh, is an understanding that it's okay to explore things that really scare you. I think that's actually really important. And For me, I'm still living in it. I'm still living and figuring out what scares me and how to navigate it. But I think it's something that we don't do enough as we get into our world of comfort and we don't like to leave it. I think it's important to kind of put ourselves out there a little bit more.
No, that's definitely true. And as you say, you've sort of gotten married during that time and had sort of had to navigate health issues as well. And so it's, yeah, been quite an interesting journey for you, I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, it's in the that part of it is in the book as well, but that was quite ironic because I married a man who, literally has dedicated his life to the most dangerous sport in the world and kind of prepared myself for his death in that regard, where it was like, that's something that is, could potentially happen. And never ever emotionally or, you know, physically prepared ourselves for the fact that he could have something like a stroke or a brain tumor. And then the navigation of being in the hospital with someone, being the caretaker to someone, watching him and his resilience and his ability to recover and come out of it and start jumping again. And that was, a whole another aspect that I never thought would be included in a book about base jumping. Like, so life just has a funny way of like winding through all those things.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, is there anything else you want to add?
It's funny, I always forget um how important Aotearoa is to me. I tend
Mhm.
to forget that when I'm overseas and I spend time away. I'll go somewhere, like I'll visit. I was in Maui a little while ago, and I'll go somewhere like that, and there'll be elements of the country or the place that I'm in that remind me of New Zealand. Um, but whenever I come back here, I'm just kind of hit with this overwhelming sense of pride to be born and raised in such an incredible country. And that's one thing I'll say is like, should be proud to be whoever's in Hawke's Bay and listening to this or reading this, you should be proud to be from Hawke's Bay because I am. I'm incredibly proud of it.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to end things. Do appreciate your time and wish you all the best with everything.
Thank you so much, Astrid. It was great to see you again. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Thank you.